I'm Joe from Evil Invaders, and you're watching Via Nocturna.
Hi, Joe. Thanks for this interview opportunity. It's really a great honor to be doing this interview with you. Shattering Reflection has just got out. How have the reactions been until now?
It's been great so far. I hear a lot of positive reactions from a lot of people, and they're very surprised about certain songs on the record. So yeah, it's been very cool, and I think it's a very varied album that we released now. So yeah, I think it's going pretty well.
And it's an amazing record, let me say. And your evolution from Feed Me Violence to Shattering Reflection is notorious in every aspect, from the songwriting to your singing. What led to this outburst of maturity?
Sorry?
I think the album it's much more mature. What led to this maturity?
I think it's also because there's been 5 years in between our previous record and this one, so of course it's more mature because we got older. But I would say like we've just been practicing a lot as musicians. We've been playing a lot of live shows, and we see which kind of songs work better live. So we automatically pick up on that in our songwriting. It's not like we really thought about this album should be different. It's just something that happened gradually as we got more skilled as musicians. I think we learn from performing, we learn from songwriting, and it's also the first time we worked with a producer for this record. So that's definitely also an influence. And yeah, I would just say like we always try to do better as than we did before in every aspect, as you said, like solo wise, vocal wise, sound wise, and the songwriting, of course.
And can we say that this album shows your true reflection, your true shattering reflection?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's a lot of different kind of songs on this record, and it shows like a wider horizon of what this band can do than everything we did before.
And besides, you are the only founding member still in the band. Can we say that that was a price to pay to have this evolution that you've been showing?
It wasn't, I don't know. It's just when we started out, we didn't take things too seriously. And as we saw, like we played shows and people liked our music, and I just wanted to play more and more shows. But the other guys in my band back then had different priorities. You know, some guys still were studying, others had their job and maybe kids, you know. So it's something that they just dropped off one by one because they had different priorities in life. And yeah, I just wanted to keep on going with this band and see how far I could get, you know. And I've been having a steady lineup since 2015, I think now. So I think I'm quite safe now.
And what about the composition process to this album? How was your composition process?
Basically, we had like written a bunch of demos on our own at home. Like Max and me mainly had like a ton of songs, and we just dropped them into one folder because we were like confined in the lockdown at home. So and then just started checking out each other's demos and like asking for feedback from the other guys and stuff. And basically we worked from home on this and just exchanged some ideas through Skype and stuff. And then when we had our demo versions of the songs finished, we started working with the producer Francesco Paoli from Flesh God Apocalypse. And then we did some changes in the arrangements and made we experimented a bit with different directions to go in the songwriting itself, like change some chord progressions and stuff like that and make the songs more interesting. And then as soon as the pre-production was done, we hit the studio and did the mixing.
And it turned out to be an amazing album, I think. One thing that I think that evolved the most from your latest records is your vocals. Did you adopt any new technique for this album, or it was just a natural thing that happened?
Oh, it's basically also because I had a lot of time to work on my vocals for this song. There was no time pressure because it was everything. I mean, there were no shows planned or anything, so I had like all the freedom to experiment. And I've been taking vocal lessons for years now, and they're really paying off. Like, I think right now I'm in a moment where I can actually sing any vocal line I have in my head. And in the past, I often felt like I was restrained, like I had the cool line in my head and I could never really nail it. So I found another way around it and made it a bit more aggressive to sound like cool in a different way, you know, more in a thrashy way. But now I really felt like I could actually sing the lines that I had in my head, and it definitely, it's a lot of fun, and I learned a lot about on my vocal skills, and my vocal techniques improved a lot while recording this album.
That's those singing lessons are really paying off. Yeah. And in this album, you have almost, or basically, two small interludes, Realm of Shadows, and in some way, Ian is also a small interlude. What was your intention by including them?
Actually, Realm of Shadows used to be like one track together with Eternal Darkness, but then the song got so fucking long, and I was like, some people might want to skip the intro, so we just cut it and just had the song separately. Like basically the same as what we did with Suspended Reanimation and Broken Dreams on the previous record. Actually, we did that a lot in the past. Same with Master of Illusion and Blinded. We tend to cut the intros as a separate track, because first it sets the atmosphere for the song, and then the song starts, you know. So that's kind of the approach we have with these kind of things. Aeon is something completely different, because that's a song Max wrote, and he just had it, and it didn't change from the demo version at all. Maybe some drum hits got changed or so, but yeah, it was just he recorded it at home by himself one day, and I'm just like, yeah, it's cool, you know, let's put it on the record, you know.
And you mentioned now Eternal Darkness. I must say that for the first time, when I listened to it for the first time, and that classic guitar solo in the middle, I immediately remembered of Only Wars from Megadeth. Can we say that this song, Only Wars, was kind of an inspiration to that part?
Might be, yeah. I don't know really what went on in Max's head when he did that part, because that's also a part he wrote. And yeah, it's hard for me to say what other person's inspiration was, but he definitely it definitely has a kind of Eastern vibe to it, so it might have been an influence on him, maybe unconsciously or so, I don't know.
And this album is also extremely varied. You got that song, and then you also have the last one, the closing piece, The Circle, that has a clear King Diamond vibe to it. Yeah. Are you planning on following something more King Diamond-ish for the next records?
I don't plan on following anything. I mean, the inspiration comes from many places, and it just happens. We don't really think of what kind of songs we should be writing. We just write songs and see how they sound, and then we try to make them fit on a record. That's basically our approach. We just write a lot of stuff, no matter which boundaries. I mean, like, there are no boundaries in what we do. It can be something completely different for the next record as well. I can't really say. Like, as long as we write it, as long as we do our thing with it, it's going to sound like us. But we don't think in one genre. We don't think like we should write a song like Iron Maiden, or we should like write a song like King Diamond. You know, it's more like things that inspire us, and it just creates something new, you know.
That's the way it should be done, I think. And as you already said, between Fit Be Violence and Shattering Reflection, there was a 5-year gap that was filled up by a live album called Surge of Insanity.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to release a live album in that year?
Basically, I just wanted to show the people what this band is about live as well, because I always think the live aspect of what we do is very important as well. Like, we take a lot of, I mean, we spend a lot of time working out our light show, and we make custom mic stands and all this stuff. You know, we have all this stuff on stage, and it would be a shame if people only saw it when they actually are at the show, if they can't come to our show, if they're on the other side of the world, you know. So I just thought, like, we need to get this out. We need to capture this on tape and like just send it out into the world. It's good promo as well, you know. And I always think like the songs are more intense live even than on the records, because we don't tend to play with a click track, and we just play the way it feels at that moment. Sometimes we play it too fast, sometimes we play it a bit slower, so it's heavier. It depends on the moment and the vibe we're in. So live is when the music really comes to life in my.
And in general, all your songs scream stage. All of them say they were meant to be played live. Speaking of live plans, which are your touring plans for this album? Is Portugal included there?
Right now we don't have Portugal included, unfortunately. We just have like festivals. Basically, we're still working on some tours, and nothing's confirmed yet, unfortunately, due to all the COVID situation. We have been canceling tours like crazy, and we wanted to make sure that the next one will actually happen. So our booker's working on stuff. We're waiting for updates. So I hope to have more news soon.
And I hope to see you live in my little country soon too. Going back to Shattering Reflection, the artwork is a true and absolute masterpiece. Can you tell us who was responsible for it and what was his aim?
Basically, we came up with the idea of like a logo crashing through the mirror and representing bad luck, but also seeing reflections from pieces of artwork from us in the past. And there's definitely like this kind of you know, like breaking free from the past vibe into that artwork as well. It was painted by Mario Lopez from Guatemala. And yeah, he always gives his own touch and own ideas to it. So we just basically write him an email saying like, yeah, we want this and it should look like this with these colors, and then he just does his thing, and yeah, he makes a sketch and then we say yes or no.
And I think it's an absolute masterpiece. It really fits into the album as well.
Yeah,
besides being the singer and guitarist for Evil Invaders, you also make customized guitars.
Yeah.
What made you get into that business?
Actually, I was like 18 and I had finished school, and the rest of my classmates were like, oh, I'm gonna go to university and I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that, and I'm like, I don't want to read a fucking book anymore. You know, I wanted to do something with my hands. You know, I was always more into those kind of like fixing things and making things. You know, and then I found this this education program where you had like luthery. So you did like there was a school in Belgium that did violins. They did you know, like all the stringed instruments basically. So violins, guitars, all the other lutes, all this stuff. And I just applied for it, and they let me in starting in violins. So I first did violins, and then suddenly there was a space free at the guitar building, and I went there and added the guitar building to the classes as well. And from there I never stopped.
And the guitars you can hear on the album, did you make them as well?
Yeah.
All of them for you and for Max?
Yeah, and also the bass for Yuri. So
what better way to promote your own product, right?
Exactly.
And now, what's about your future? What's on the line for Evil Invaders?
Hard to tell in these times, honestly, but I hope it's just gonna go step by step up as we've been climbing the ladder so far. Yeah, I hope more touring and basically everything we did before, but better, you know.
But music-wise, you already said that you don't plan, but what do you think it's more likely to happen? Return back to your roots, or keep evolving on the same path that you did so far?
I think there's always plenty of roots in our music. Like if you take a song like Sledgehammer Justice, it's pretty much a song that goes back to our roots. You know, this could have been on our first EP. Let's say, you know, we always have our roots hidden in our music. You know, and yeah, it's just I really don't know what to say to this, because when we write music, it just happens, you know, and we don't really think of which style we should be writing. As long as we like it, it's cool. You know, we still write music to express ourselves from an artistic point of view, you know, and we don't really think like, we play an Evil Invader, so we should sound like this. No, we just write music and it sounds like Evil Invaders because it's us.
You have no boundaries right now.
No, I hate to restrict myself, because then I don't want to write the same album over and over again, you know. Like we once tried to write another Raising Hell, and we're like, oh, we should have another song like that, but it was a thing that just happens, you know. You can't plan a certain song, you know, we should have something like that. That never worked for us. We just have to write and select the best songs, you know. Like for this album, we had 20 demos or something, and we just chose the tracks that were good enough for us, to our standards, to release. You know, that's also why it takes so long for us to come up with new albums. First of all, because it's not our full-time job, but on the other hand, we're very perfectionistic as well. So it's kind of hard to spend so much time on songwriting and having tours planned, playing shows, and also have a day job in the same time. So it's unfortunate, but we don't make enough money with the band to live from it. You know.
It's not easy for a metalhead these days.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, are you included in some other project?
I've never really been part of other projects. I just have my band, and it's what I do. But yeah, I often feel like I should work with other musicians as well to get more inspiration for my own songs. But so far, it didn't really happen. You know, I don't have time for it. You know, I just want to do my thing anyways.
And as you said, you had 20 demos for this album.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and are those other songs that weren't included on this album going to be released in the future? Like
we definitely have to rewrite them and make them better. But right now, they weren't in a state where they are actually good enough to my standards. You know, like I don't want to release fillers on a record. I mean, it would be easy to release an album every year with one good song on it and the rest just. But we're not Motley Crue, you know.
And that's what keeps you true. You those bands that basically just keep releasing record after record after record, like year after year. They slowly lose their essence, and that's what keeps you true. Thank you, Joe. It was an honor, as I said. Would you like to leave any message to your Portuguese fans?
Basically, I would say, like, check out our new record, and I hope to come back to Portugal soon, because every time we were there in the past, it was a total blast. So yeah, thanks for your support. Hope to see you soon. Cheers.
All right, that's it. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much, dude.